They thought $10,000 would buy my silence. They truly believed that pregnancy made my daughter weak, fragile, desperate. They believed that swollen feet and sleepless nights would bend her spine. But when that billionaire woman held out her check, my black pregnant daughter didn't look down. She looked straight into her eyes. And what she said in that moment didn't just freeze the room, it cracked a legacy that had been built on arrogance and control. That single sentence rewrote our future. I'm Auntie Lana, and I want you to understand something clearly. That day, the fire burning inside my chest had nothing to do with money. I've lived long enough to know money comes and goes. What burned me was the insult hidden inside that envelope. The assumption that dignity has a price. The belief that a black woman, pregnant and vulnerable, could be quietly pushed aside with a polite smile and a stack of cash. My daughter Naomi was 7 months pregnant then. Her belly was round and heavy, her ankles swollen by evening, her back aching every time she stood up. Every night she shifted in bed trying to find comfort. But her spirit was unbreakable. She was carrying a child inside her body and years of silent disrespect inside her heart. She had married into old money, billionaire money, the kind that doesn't just spend, it judges. The kind that thinks wealth is proof of superiority, and humility is something poor people are supposed to practice. From the very first day, her mother-in-law made it clear Naomi did not belong. Not through open insults, no, that would have been too honest. It was done through sharp looks, long silences, smiles that never reached her eyes. She corrected Naomi's pronunciation in front of guests. She wrinkled her nose at the food Naomi cooked with love. Once, casually, like it meant nothing, she said, "I just hope the baby takes after our side." That sentence landed like a slap across the soul. I saw Naomi smile politely, but I felt her shrink inside. I warned my daughter. I told her gently, "Baby, money don't make people kind, but love has a dangerous way of making women hopeful. And hope can make a woman stay quiet far longer than she should." She believed marriage would soften hearts. She believed motherhood would change minds. She believed wrong. That morning, they invited us to the mansion. Everything about that place felt cold marble floors that echoed under our feet, gold-framed mirrors reflecting a version of ourselves that felt small and out of place. The air itself felt unwelcoming. Naomi held my arm as we walked in, her fingers gripping tighter than usual. I felt the tremble, not fear. Something deeper. Instinct. A knowing that pain was waiting for us, behind polite words. The mother-in-law dismissed the staff, dismissed everyone else. Just 3 women remained in that enormous room. She sat back on a velvet chair, like royalty, composed and confident, and slid an envelope across the table with one manicured finger. $10,000. Clean, crisp, cold. This is for arrangements, she said softly. I think it's best if you take some space. After the baby is born, my chest tightened. My stomach dropped. Anger rose so fast, I tasted metal in my mouth. Naomi looked at the envelope for a long second. Then she pushed it back, slow and steady. "My child is not for sale," she said. Silence swallowed the room. That's when the real cruelty showed its face. The billionaire woman laughed not loud. Not rude, but that slow, poisonous laugh people use when they believe power guarantees obedience. She leaned back and said, "You're being emotional. Pregnancy does that." That sentence sliced through the air like a blade. I stood up so fast my chair scraped against the marble. My hands shook, not with fear, but with rage. Because when a woman uses another woman's pregnancy to erase her voice, that isn't ignorance. That is calculated cruelty. Naomi didn't cry. She didn't raise her voice. She placed one hand on her belly, grounding herself, and spoke calmly. Every word landed heavy. "You didn't invite us here to help," she said. "You invited us here to erase me." The smile on her mother-in-law's face tightened, then vanished. Her eyes hardened. And finally, she said the truth she had been hiding behind manners and money. "My son made a mistake. This marriage was impulsive, and this baby complicates things." There it was. The truth wrapped in silk and arrogance. She stood and stepped closer to Naomi, invading her space, looking down at my pregnant daughter like she was a problem that needed managing. "We can make this easy," she whispered. "You take the money. You raise the child quietly. My family reputation stays clean." In that moment, my heart broke and burned at the same time. Naomi's husband, her son, was standing just outside the room, silent, watching, allowing it. That silence cut deeper than any insult. When Naomi looked at him and asked, "Did you know?" he didn't answer. That pause spoke louder than words ever could. The room felt heavy, like the walls were listening. Naomi reached for the envelope again, and for one terrifying second, I thought the pressure had broken her. But instead, she tore it in half, then again, and dropped the pieces at that woman's feet. "My child will know who stood up for them," she said, "and who tried to erase them." That's when the mask fell completely. The billionaire woman shouted, called Naomi ungrateful, said she should feel lucky to be allowed into their family. She said money makes the rules and poor people don't get to reject them. I had held my tongue long enough. "You may be rich," I said, "but you are spiritually bankrupt." Silence followed us as Naomi lifted her chin and walked out of that mansion. 7 months pregnant. No money. No apology. No protection. Only dignity. What nobody expected came 2 weeks later, at 2:17 a.m. My phone rang. Naomi's husband was crying. The empire was collapsing. The truth his mother had buried for decades had surfaced. Her rise to power began with an affair and a child she paid to disappear. That child grew up, became a lawyer, and exposed everything: emails, payments, names. The media exploded. Investors fled. Boards resigned. And the most shocking truth of all, the woman who brought her down was black, pregnant ones, abandoned ones. Just like my daughter, karma didn't knock. It kicked the door down. Naomi refused to return to a house where dignity had conditions. She chose peace over privilege. Months later, she gave birth to a beautiful baby girl, dark-skinned, loud, alive with purpose. And life rewarded her courage. The same lawyer offered her work in a foundation protecting women silenced by powerful families. Naomi didn't just survive. She rose, and that child will grow up knowing one sacred truth. Her mother was never for sale.